Good morning, Dreamhouse Nation. James Lewis of TDH. Joining us today from the streets of rock and roll is Ron Keel. Ron, thank you for joining us today.
Thank you for the opportunity to talk to rock and rock the talk with you and your audience. And I appreciate the chance to catch up and say hello. And whatever you want to do, I'm all yours.
Awesome. Yeah, we're so excited. I mean, rock singer, author, radio show host, actor. Is it easier to list the things that you don't do?
Yeah, well, I mean, it might be, because my life really is all based on entertainment, family, music. There are not a lot of hobbies or extracurricular activities in my life, but everything I do, whether it's the radio show, the concerts, the songs, the music, the tours, the books, everything is built upon the desire to entertain people.
That is awesome. I was going to say your dedication, your commitment to your fans, I mean, is just impeccable.
I appreciate that. And, you know, I love what I do. It is exhausting and it's overwhelming because, especially as I get a little older. I mean, I've been around 40 years now since the release of my first album. And as you get older, you feel the clock ticking. You know, you're not going to be able to keep up this pace forever. So kind of like a horse coming down the home stretch, you know, at the Kentucky Derby, you're going to give it that extra gas you can to cross that finish line and be victorious at the end of the race. So I do enjoy what we do. And I wonder every day, why did I bite off so much more than I could chew? And, you know, the problem for me is that I'm still addicted to music, just like the kid that grew up in garage bands and, you know, playing bars when I was 16 years old and all that. I mean, I have to walk to get to my office. I have to walk past the drum kit and the guitars and the microphones, and they beckon to me like, you know, my long lost friend. So, you know, I'll grab the mic and I'll start singing, I'll start playing, I'll write a song, and then the day gets away from me. And I'm still very much in love with the music, and I cannot stop being that guy, even though I've embraced the business and the broadcasting and the running a record label and a media company and all the other stuff that we do. It's all about the music for me still.
That is awesome. So what is Sammy Radio for the couple of listeners that don't know what it is?
Man, Sammy Radio is a station that was founded by, not currently owned by, but founded by Sammy Hagar, the Red Rocker. And man, my history with Sammy runs deep. I got to meet him a couple of times. I actually got to sing with him once on stage in Las Vegas, and got to open for Van Halen at the 1986 Texas Jam. It was Van Halen and my band Keel and Loverboy, Dio Crocus. And so my love of Sammy, my admiration for him is on many, many levels. First of all, the fact that even when that Montrose album came out, 73, that first Montrose album, it just really changed my world and really shaped what happened in the 70s and early 80s with bands like Van Halen. And that Montrose album was a huge influential record on our culture. And the fact that he became a successful solo artist, his songwriting ability, and the fact that he took Van Halen to the next level. And you know, the fact that still in his 70s, he looks, sounds, and acts like he's 35. Who wouldn't want to aspire to be like Sammy? And so Sammy's always been my number one frontman, rocker, all around instrumentalist, songwriter, vocalist, all that stuff. So to be a part of his radio station, the station that he founded, is a huge honor for me. And the playlist is fantastic. They've got a couple of great syndicated shows, and I'm glad to be on that list of syndicated programming at SammyRadio.com.
That is awesome. I was going to say, I know our fans are going to check that out. Tell us about your show. Tell us about Streets of Rock and Roll.
Streets of Rock and Roll is my personal online radio platform, not just online, but we have a couple of FM, AM terrestrial stations as well. I started the show always, of course, going back to the very core of it and the roots as a kid growing up listening to rock and roll on the radio. And back then, we only had a couple of stations, man. In the 70s, you got the radio under your pillow at night as you're falling asleep listening to both Black Sabbath and the Eagles. And I grew up listening to that classic rock music and always loved the interview segments. Always loved the fact that when a rock star or an entertainer would talk and speak his mind, and the fans and the audience would get to know them a little better. So when I did the 2012 Monsters of Rock cruise, this was the maiden voyage. Of course, the Monsters of Rock cruise has become a cornerstone event of our culture these days, and now 11 years later. After that maiden voyage, I've been on it 8 times. But the first time I went on the ship, and I always wanted to do a radio show, and I always wanted to do interviews and create, content and put together a show that would include my favorite music and interviews with my friends and fellow rock stars. So I took my little voice recorder on the cruise in 2012, and literally I'm following the rock stars, down the hallway and getting little sound bites and quotes and intros and liners. Talk to the fans, hey, you're from Argentina. Who are you here to see? And I just got a ton of great content after that cruise. And I thought, man, if I'm ever going to start this show, I got to do it now because some of these sound bites are priceless. So I came home from the cruise, put together episode 1 of Streets of Rock and Roll in March of 2012. And it was a weekly show at the time, only available on my website. Immediately, we started picking up affiliate stations from around the world. Got to the point where it was a legitimate moneymaker and a great source of joy for me. Of course, a lot of work, as you know, being a broadcaster yourself. But it ended up getting me a gig in Sioux Falls, South Dakota on live radio, KBAT 94.5 FM, where I was doing the midday shift. 10 a.m. to 2 p.m. every day on the radio, doing live radio, and that's a blast. As you know, it's like putting on a show. And our station was geared to the fans. Not only are you spinning tunes, but you are engaged in social media. You're taking phone calls. You're recording those phone calls, playing them back on the air. Literally 4 hours of direct interaction with the audience. That, of course, got to be too much for my schedule, being a touring musician and recording sessions and traveling and singing and playing all over the world. So the syndicated format works great for me. The fact that I can put together a show from wherever I am and take the fans on the road with me. I've taken our listeners to Australia, to Europe, all across the nation here in the U.S., and I'll record stuff as I go and put together what I feel is, it's the show that I would want to listen to. If I was a fan, and I am a fan first, always, this is the kind of show that I would want to hear. So I've tried to put that together for the fans. Now we're closing in on episode 300. Of course, the show was on hiatus for 4 years during my live radio career, but I do enjoy it, and I'm glad that the response has been incredible from both the fans and the affiliate stations. And it's just another chance for me to entertain people, give them something to listen to, something to put their fist in the air and smile and tap their foot while they're working at the office or the shop or wherever they are listening. We appreciate them.
I agree with you. The adrenaline, just how great it feels to be able to create things and to be able to express yourself and doing it for the love of the fans. That's what it's all about, is really, doing something that they're going to appreciate and they're going to enjoy and brighten their day. So I agree with you 100%.
Well, thank you. I appreciate that too. And it is all about because like I said, I'm a fan first. I put together a show, whether it's a concert or a radio show. I just do what I want to hear and what I want to see. And, you're never going to please everybody. The fact that I've sold 3 million records means that billions of people don't like me or don't want what I do. And I'm cool with that. Those 3 million people that shelled out their hard-earned bucks at the record store back in the day are still are buying our concert tickets, merchandise, subscriptions to my Patreon page, patreon.com/Ron Keel, where I really engage the fans on a personal level. That's what it's all about.
Who are some of the multi-platinum rock stars, celebrities, and other authors that you have had as guests on your show?
So many great guests. And it started out as just calling my friends and saying, hey, man, will you be on my show? And eventually, it didn't take too long for the publicists and PR firms in the industry to realize that Ron does it right. I keep the interview short. We air 13-minute interviews on the radio broadcast, and then we include the entire conversation on the podcast version. But I don't we don't drag it out, man. I'm here to promote what you want to talk about, your current album, and what are you doing now? What are the tour dates? And we don't want to retell everybody's life story in a 13-minute interview. So the subjects or the people that I've interviewed always gave a good report. Man, I really enjoyed talking to him. That was cool. So the publicists and PR firms would hook me up with more and more. And, I got to interview a lot of my heroes, one of which, the list goes on. There's 250 of them. But Michael Bruce from the original Alice Cooper band was one of my heroes and friends when I was just a kid growing up. Alice Cooper was from Phoenix, and so was I. So the Alice Cooper, you breathe in the same air that he did. I've actually had Alice Cooper on the show now, and Michael Bruce was amazing because he doesn't do interviews. He was in Mexico. I had to track him down. It was like a mission. I got to get this guy on the show. And this is when Alice Cooper, the band, went into the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. So he was, kind of the unsung hero of that original Alice Cooper band and a major songwriter. So that was a big hit for me. Getting guys on the show that I used to have to stand in line when I was a teenager and buy a ticket to see them and fight my way to the front row at a concert. Guys like Pat Travers, Ted Nugent. Ted Nugent was great. It was a great interview. And I got a lot of blowback from that because I think I lost 4 stations that week when I had Ted on the show. 4 stations said, we are not airing your interview with Ted because they didn't agree with his politics or whatever. It's Ted, man. He's the Motor City Madman. Come on. It's just rock and roll. And Ted is very outspoken, as we all know. But, that was certainly a benchmark for me. The Hall of Famers, Joe Elliott from Def Leppard's been on the show 3 times. A good buddy of mine and always delivers a great interview. Glenn Hughes, another Hall of Fame singer, bass player that I admire that is still crushing it into his 70s. And some of the guys, some of the great interviews have been people I didn't know. In fact, I think, if I had to put one interview up for my all-time favorite, it was Jimmy Jamison, singer from Survivor, who Jimmy's passed away now. He passed away literally months after the interview was done. So I got to talk to him and got to meet him. I didn't know who he was. I got an opportunity to talk to him and we set it up and it was like we were best friends. He didn't even know who I was. I knew who he was, but that conversation, that energy and chemistry that we had, Jimmy telling stories about when he was doing sessions for Budweiser. He was the Men of Real Genius, doing the Budweiser commercials or whatever. Certainly one of my all-time favorites, and the list goes on. And it seems like I'm able to relate to these guys on a level that because I get interviewed like this, like you and I are talking all the time, and I'm able to relate to them on that level because I've been on the other side of the microphone and also as an entertainer, as somebody who's lived his life on the road and in the studio. There's a lot of common ground between me and my interview subjects. So I try and always ask the singers about the voice. How did you learn to sing? And is it talent or is it hard work? Or, we'll dig into your recording techniques. Which mic do you use? And how do you actually carve these tracks? And I can relate to them on that level because I'm doing the same thing every day. So the interviews are the meat of the sandwich on the streets of rock and roll, my radio show, which you can find at ronkeel.com. And the music is also important. It's not a podcast. It is a radio show. The interviews are only 13 minutes long. The rest of it is all music, and usually 90% or more all new music because there's so much great new music out there to play and showcase and turn the fans and the audience onto something they haven't heard. We're not going to play, if I have Joe Elliott on the show, we might play some old Def Leppard, but of course you're going to cater to that if you've got a Hall of Fame rock star on the show. But a lot of the stuff is new music, man. You're going to hear music you've never heard before, and we're going to promote these artists new because it's so tough to create new music and make a living doing it, even just to recoup your recording expense for any artist, up and coming rocker on the rise or an established artist. recoup the expense that you put into creating and recording new music is very difficult. So I take a lot of pride in showcasing new music on the streets of rock and roll.
That is awesome. We recently had Brent Michaels to talk about his new music back in the day, his new song.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, awesome track.
Yes, indeed. And Brent and I, we do go way back in the day. I'm very proud of him and his success. And we did a lot of shows early on in the 80s together when we were both coming up out of the sewer, so to speak, in the Hollywood, Los Angeles rock and roll scene.
Wow, that is awesome. So people have been saying that you are the voice of the current generation, the same way Casey Kasem and Wolfman Jack were the voice of their generation. Do you feel that is fair to say?
Oh, my goodness. Who said that? Wow, what a compliment. And certainly two guys that shaped my broadcasting goals. I remember this was pivotal for me. It was 1972, New Year's Eve. Casey Kasem would count down the top 100 songs of the year. And for Christmas that year, I was, 11 years old. I had just gotten my first cassette recorder where you can play the radio and record whatever the radio's playing. You can record it on your little cassette deal. And it was just a huge breakthrough for me. And I sat there and recorded Casey Kasem's top 100 songs of the year. And that was literally my audio Bible for months to follow. What legendary voices, and Wolfman Jack. I mean, I can't compete with those guys on any level. They were the pioneers of this industry. All I'm trying to do is, if either one of those guys were around to hear what I do, I'd hope that they would say, yeah, it's cool. I like it. He's doing a good job. That you can't ever, those were giants that walked the earth with big, huge footsteps to fill. And I'll never do that. But I do appreciate that compliment.
Oh, definitely. I was going to say, I think it's deserved. I really think some of the great work that you're doing it's just phenomenal. How you're getting those, not just the legends, but you're getting the new bands out there as well, and just sharing with the fans.
Thank you. And I do enjoy it. It is very much like climbing a mountain. Every Tuesday's production day for me. And wake up on Tuesday and you got to put the show together. And it is all consuming. Everything else has to go on the back burner. There's no emails, no phone calls, no rehearsals, no songwriting, no nothing. It's radio day. And what am I going to do this week? And how can I maintain the standard that I've established and continue to deliver a good product, basically? And, it's like looking up at this huge mountain. And then at the end of the day, and I hate that phrase, at the end of the day, because it's the most tired, overused phrase in our vernacular these days, but you feel like you really done something, when the show gets produced and it gets broadcast on Wednesday morning on KRFK Radio, my station, for our premiere. And the show broadcasts all week long on multiple stations and affiliates around the world. It feels like you really accomplished something. And when you get that response back from the fans, hey, great show. I really enjoyed it. Great interview. I love this new song. And people will tell me, I just went online and bought this album because I heard this song on your show. And, it means we're doing something right.
That is awesome. Ron, it has been a pleasure having you on the show, talking up streets of rock and roll. Before we let you go, where on social media, where on the web, where can our listeners find out more about you and your show?
Thanks for asking. One stop, ronkeel.com. I am a firm believer in having that one website. Social media will come and go. I am no longer on AOL or MySpace because those things are going to come and go, man. I'm surprised Facebook has lasted as long as it has. But ronkeel.com has been there for 22 years. It's always going to be there. And you can find links to all of my stuff. Subscribe to the YouTube channel. Get on the mailing list. Follow us on social media on every possible platform, from TikTok to YouTube to Facebook, Twitter, all of them. I'm all over the place, but that one-stop hub that you can use to reach me is ronkeel.com.
That is awesome. Thank you for joining us.
My pleasure. Thank you for having me, and thanks to all your listeners for listening to me ramble on about me. It's a great opportunity, and I appreciate it.
Appliance Factory in Mattress Kingdom has products in stock and available to take home today. With 5 stores and almost 40 years in business, they are Ohio's appliance experts, and they help you to get the right product at the right price with a huge inventory. You can save 30 to 60% every day on everything from Bosch and Viking to LG, GE, and KitchenAid at unbeatable savings and in stock. Plus, Mattress Kingdom inside Appliance Factory has everything from Tempur-Pedic and Sealy, Stearns & Foster, and DreamCloud mattresses in stock. Stop by any one of Appliance Factory and Mattress Kingdom's 5 Ohio locations today or visit online at appliancefactory.com.
Good morning, Dreamhouse Nation. James Lewis of TDH joining us for the Arnold Sports Festival is Brent Lalonde. Brett, thank you for joining us today.
Good talking to you again this year, and looking forward to another great event.
The Arnold Sports Festival, March 2nd through the 5th, Columbus, Ohio, featuring over 20,000 athletes from 80 different nations, competing in over 60 different sporting events. I mean, that is phenomenal. Tell us a little bit more about it. What else do our fans need to know?
Just to kind of expect the Arnold Sports Festival that they've come to know and love in the past. Obviously, we did not have an event really in 2020 when we were kind of closed down, and then we did a smaller event in 2021, and then we came back in March of 2022 last year, but even that event was still heavily impacted by COVID. But what we're seeing this year going into March of 2023 is that our ticket sales are way up, our vendors and our sponsors are all coming back in full force. Most of our sports are back, so the event that you knew back in the 2015, 16, 17, 18, that is the event that you will see in just a few weeks.
That is awesome. That's what we like to hear. And then, going back to the very beginning, tell us about how it got started back in 89.
It really got started in 1989 between a relationship between Jim Lorimer, who's a Columbus businessman, and Arnold himself. So Jim, back in the 60s, was involved in AAU, and he promoted girls track, but that AAU relationship led him to promoting weightlifting. And then in 1970, we hosted the World Weightlifting Championships here in Columbus. That was on a Wide World of Sports, if you remember that show. Mm-hmm. And in that 2-hour window, they did an hour of weightlifting and an hour of bodybuilding. So we hosted the Mr. World competition in 1970. Arnold came in for that event. He won that event, struck up a lifetime friendship and relationship with Jim Lorimer, and Arnold said, when I'm done competing, I'm going to come back to Columbus and promote the event or promote the sport. So he went on to win the Olympia every year through 1975, and then when he retired for the first time after the 1975 Mr. Olympia, which was the one that was filmed in Sun City, South Africa for the movie Pumping Iron, he came back and him and Jim went right into the promotion business. They hosted the Mr. Olympia in Columbus 6 times between 1976 for the first time and 1986. And then when they lost the ability to host the Olympia on a regular basis, that is when they created the Arnold Classic in 1989. And we've hosted that event every year for the last 35 years.
And it's, just a phenomenal event for our listeners that haven't been, because I know most of our listeners have. For those that haven't, it is definitely a must experience. Tell us about how the event has grown and evolved over the years.
Yeah, so back in the early 90s, Arnold was the chairman of the President's Council on Physical Fitness, and he challenged our team back then to start adding other sports. His real fitness crusade, fitness is for everyone. Let's do gymnastics and cheerleading and weightlifting, powerlifting. And we've just added all those events over the years to the point where it is really a fitness weekend, a sports festival with a wide variety of strength sports, fitness sports, physique sports, combat sports, youth sports, just a wide variety of ways to express yourself through fitness and sports. So it is much more than bodybuilding, although that is where we came from, and much of our event is obviously built around bodybuilding, weightlifting, powerlifting, those Arnold Strongman events, an Arnold Pro Strong Woman event for the first time this year. So that is what it looks like, and there really is something for everyone. Come on out. If you come out and buy a daily expo ticket, you can spend all day seeing the booth, the expo, all the different sports in and around the Greater Columbus Convention Center.
Well, where is the best place to buy those tickets?
ArnoldSports.com. Go on there and they'll explain all the various ticket packages for you. There's anything from VIP tickets for strongman and bodybuilding on down to just the daily expo tickets. In addition to that, there's event tickets for the Arnold Amateur Bodybuilding Championships, the party, the Arnold Seminar on Sunday, just a wide variety of options there for fans to engage on the weekend.
I'm really interested in learning about more of those upgrading options. I understand there's a Fast Pass and there's an Ultimate Expo Pass. Tell us a little bit about both of those.
So we've had the Fast Pass option for a while, and what that does is it's the daily Expo Pass that gets you into the Expo at 9 o'clock instead of 10 o'clock. So it gives you an hour early to get into the Expo, kind of see the booths that you want to see without really fighting the big crowds. The Ultimate Expo Pass is a 3-day experience that we added last year that is kind of a VIP experience just on the Expo side, where you get the premium bag and the water bottle and the keychain and all those extra perks that the VIP holders get, but you're just buying that VIP that Expo experience as opposed to an experience that includes premium seating for the bodybuilding or the strongman.
Oh, it sounds like there are a bunch of other really great events that are taking place.
Yep.
Go a little bit more detail into those.
Yeah, so I mean, obviously the Arnold Classic and all the IFBB Pro League events, Classic Physique, Fitness and Bikini and Wellness, and Men's Physique, all those are back again in 2023. The Arnold Strongman Classic is very popular with our fans. It's the premium strongman contest in the world, right up there with the world's strongest man. This year we added in the same arena. There's a strongman arena that we built 2 years ago for the first time inside our expo that seats about 4,000 people. Gives folks a way to really watch and enjoy the strongman competition. So we have a 10 athletes in the professional strong women contest competing back there right alongside with the men. So they'll do the women's event, whether it's log lift, frame carry, wheel of pain, etc., and then the men's competitions. And then another new activation for us this year is World Chase Tag, which is a highly competitive international parkour event, which sounds just like it is. It's a chase competition where you put two athletes into an arena that has some parkour elements to it, and one chases the other, and it's a timed event. In that event, they're doing the Pan American Championships on our event, and they'll be taping that for broadcast later on ESPN.
Wow, sounds awesome. It sounds like there's so many great things to see and do.
Yeah.
Now, of course, one of my favorite extra things is that party with the pros.
Yes, that's back again, and really in all its glory for the first time in several years, over at Kemba Live, right after the Arnold Classic on Saturday night. Club atmosphere with a band, DJ. Obviously, there's a full cash bar in there, some food options. It's just a great way to get out and enjoy Columbus and enjoy the weekend in a nice party club atmosphere that's always been one of our most popular events.
And sometimes there's some boxing or MMA. What about that? You got any of that?
Yeah, we have two events, both at the Hollywood Casino, just on the west side of Columbus. We have something called Guns and Hoses Boxing on a Thursday night, and that's very popular. It's local police officers boxing local firefighters. Great entertainment. It's a charity event, but gets a packed house. And then on Friday night, we have a pro am MMA show in the same venue on Friday night. Again, we'll attract a sold-out crowd of about 2,500 or so in that building to watch regional and national pro and amateur MMA competition.
Now, this is the first time I'll be able to say this. For our fans that can't make it out to the Arnold Sports Festival, is there an option for them to experience it?
Yes, we've always had some sort of pay-per-view or webcast. So if you go to ArnoldSports.com, there's two options. There's a paid pay-per-view with all the pro and amateur bodybuilding on it. And then watch our YouTube channel, ArnoldSportsFestival.com on YouTube. You will see all of our stages, Expo stage, Road Strength stage, some other competitions that will be streamed live and free on our YouTube channel.
Wow. So, I mean, it just sounds like the thing is growing every year. It's evolving every year, and it just keeps getting better every year.
Yeah, people are really excited about this year. They're eager to get back out, get in the building, enjoy the festival. Ticket sales are on really, honestly, on record pace. So if you want to come out, want to secure your tickets, go to ArnoldSportsFestival.com and get those guaranteed before you miss out.
Nice. And then, of course, I'm sure the winner from last year, Brandon Curry, will be back this year.
Brandon is not competing in the Arnold Classic, but he will be on site doing photos and autographs and attending the events. And Brandon is a great friend of ours, great ambassador for the sport. So he will be here meeting and greeting the fans and at all the competitions.
Nice. So you got him, you got some new sports, and then you got usually a bunch of other big names attending. I forget where that is on your all's website, but I know usually when it gets close to the event, they put up a list of people to watch for. Yeah, so we do a special guest list on our website. Plus, we've introduced in the last couple of years photo ops. So you can come in and get a guaranteed photo instead of fighting the lines inside the expo. You can get a guaranteed photo with likes of Chris Bumstead, Phil Heath, Ronnie Coleman, Jay Cutler, Eddie Hall, Thor Bjornsson, those type of guys. Go to our website, check out the photo ops page, and you'll see those guests and celebrities that are available to meet and greet on the weekend. Definitely. I mean, it is just such an experience. There's so much to see, so much to do at the Arnold Festival. My favorite experience at the Arnold Sports Festival was there was one time I saw Mark Henry, and I'm like, oh my gosh, Mark Henry from the WWE weightlifter. And the crazy thing is the person standing next to him was bigger and, bigger in height and in build. It was just ridiculous.
Yeah, Mark will be back at the event all 3 days again this year. Mark was the inaugural winner of the Arnold Strongman Classic back in 2002, I believe, was when we debuted that event, and he was the first champion of that contest. So he's always been a great friend in support of our event, and has done some commentating for us in the past, and will be on site this year doing some appearances and such. So we look forward to seeing Mark.
Definitely. I was going to say, if he doesn't already have one, he should be up in the running for that Lifetime Achievement Award, which I understand Kenny Flex Wheeler is getting this year.
Yes, we're very excited to present that award this year to Flex, another great friend of the weekend, obviously a 4-time Arnold Classic champion, probably the greatest bodybuilder of all time, not to have won the Mr. Olympia, but we're proud to have crowned him a 4-time champ here in Columbus, and we're excited to see him again in March and present that Lifetime Achievement Award to him.
And then there's also a Hall of Fame ceremony for some great athletes.
Yeah, we have the International Sports Hall of Fame induction ceremony on our weekend. Thor Bjornsson is also being inducted into that, as well as a variety of other big names from various different sports and disciplines. That's put on by Dr. Bob Goldman. We've been doing that for 7 or 8 years on our weekend, and it's just a great way to honor some different athletes from, like I said, a variety of different sports around the world.
Well, Brent, the Arnold Sports Festival is always a great weekend, always a must experience. And I know you can't name them all because, good Lordy, you've got a lot of them, but key sponsors, just name some of those if you would.
Yeah, Rogue, SBD, Rain, Celsius, High-Tech Pharmaceuticals are some of our big golden Mutant Nutrition. There's a big list of those on our website, but those are some of the big ones. Excellent.
So before we let you go, where on social media, where on the web, where can we find out more about the Arnold Sports Festival?
ArnoldSports.com for information and tickets, and then follow us at Arnold Sports on Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram.
That is awesome. As always, it is a pleasure having you in the show. It is always a pleasure experiencing the Arnold Sports Festival live, and we are excited about March 2nd through March 5th, Columbus, Ohio.
Thank you very much. I really appreciate talking to you guys every year and look forward to seeing you in a few weeks.
Appliance Factory and Mattress Kingdom has products in stock and available to take home today. With 5 stores and almost 40 years in business, they are Ohio's appliance experts, and they help you to get the right product at the right price with a huge inventory. You can save 30 to 60% every day on everything from Bosch and Viking to LG, GE, and KitchenAid at unbeatable savings and in stock. Plus, Mattress Kingdom inside Appliance Factory has everything from Tempur-Pedic and Sealy, Stearns & Foster, and Dream Cloud mattresses in stock. Stop by any one of Appliance Factory and Mattress Kingdom's 5 Ohio locations today or visit online at appliancefactory.com.
Good morning, Dreamhouse Nations. James Lewis of TDH. Joining us from McGuffey Lane is John Schwab. John, thank you for joining us today.
Hey, I'm happy to be here, man.
Oh, gosh, we are excited. We're happy about your upcoming performance Friday, March 24th, Megacorp Pavilion, Newport, Kentucky. Tell us a little bit about it.
Well, we used to play a lot in the Cincinnati area back in the 70s, 80s, and 90s. And for some reason, it just, when we took our little break in 1990, we didn't play for about a decade. And when we started back up again, I don't know why, but we just didn't play in Cincinnati much. So, all those years playing at Bogart and, we played a lot of big shows there with Charlie Daniels and Marshall Tucker and the Allman Brothers, down there right on the river. I don't know, it's so much fun to get back there and see. We didn't have a full house by any means last year when we played our first time there at the Megacorp Pavilion, but we had a really strong bunch of people that were really having a good time. So we're hoping that we can build on that this year.
So tell us a little bit about how McGuffey Lane got started.
McGuffey Lane started by Terry Efall and Steve Reese, who are Steve's the bass player and Terry's the steel guitar player in the band. And they started out as a duo back in the early 70s and just added like piece by piece till we ended up as a 6-piece. And now, 40 some years later, we have about a 7-piece band now, but the three of the original members that are still alive are still on that stage. So what it was just a couple of guys who had similar tastes in music, and then they met another guy that did, and they played mostly cover tunes, and then we kept building. I would like to say I'm the newest member. I didn't join until 1977. So we all had similar likes in music. Very diverse, but we really at that time were very influenced by like Crosby, Stills, Nash and Young, and that Jackson Browne, that whole the Eagles, that whole Southern California thing, and we kind of wanted to rock out with a little bit of country in it.
Like you said, you are the newest member, but yet you're definitely a very tenured member. Gosh, just so many experiences over the years with McGuffey Lane.
Yeah, yes. My newest member since 1977. I've only been in there 40 some years, but the thing was, I had decided not to be in any more bands. When I joined, I was opening up for them as a solo acoustic, and I just had enough of band drama. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. And so like every night, the bass player Steve would start getting up and jamming with me during my set a little bit. And pretty soon I looked over there, harmonica player Teves is up there, and I just all of a sudden I was in the band.
Yeah, I was going to say, we love bands like yours. Shoot, we recently had Kansas on. They've been together over 50 years. Oak Ridge Boys, ones like that, just been around for so long and have been so many places together.
Yeah, man. It's you can't buy that experience. That's something you just got to experience together. Going down the road, how many miles a year? 50, 80,000 miles a year. There's nothing can take the place of that, being in the trenches with your guys.
So McGuffey Lane, is that a name of a road in Athens? Is that where the story comes from?
That's right. Steve Reese, the bass player, grew up on a street called McGuffey Lane, which is, he was a townie. I was a student at OU, but he was a townie. And, back in those days, I was like, we didn't mix too well, but everybody in the band, the original members, all went to OU, but we didn't really know each other there, but that we had that in common when we got together in Columbus. Nice.
So what separates McGuffey Lane from other bands?
Well, I can't say the things that separate us completely from other bands. I can say what we have in common with some of our favorite bands. We like that melodic, our songs are melodic. lyric driven. I mean, there's a lot of people that have that in common with us, but we really like that, mixing the country and the jazz and the rock flavors all in together. And there's a lot of people do that. So I don't think I can answer the question by saying, well, what separates us from the other bands is our original material. It's definitely, that's the thing that really got us going, back in the day.
So, where's the best place to listen to McGuffey Lane?
Oh, Spotify's got us. You can listen. We have lots of videos on YouTube, lots of live videos. So all the regular music streaming places have us. There's a great video of the original band that we just put up a couple years ago. It was a primetime TV show in Columbus, Ohio, on the ABC affiliate back in 1979. If you just search McGuffey Lane 1979 on YouTube, you can see it's a live show, like over an hour of the original band.
So Friday, March 24th, Megacorp Pavilion, Newport, Kentucky. Our fans, they're excited about it. Are there any other bands that'll be performing with you that evening?
No, it'll just be a night with McGuffey Lane. So I don't believe we have an opening act. So
where's the best place for the Dreamhouse Nation to buy their tickets?
Well, I know they sell tickets at Ticketmaster, but I think if this show is not going to probably be sold out. I mean, I hate to say that, but if you go to the show, the night of the show, and walk up, you're going to save a lot of money on service charges. That's why I'm telling you that,
Exactly. You're wanting to save the fans money, which is always commendable, because you're right. Some of those companies do charge outrageous service fees. Yeah, they do. But, we're not selling tickets. Sometimes we sell tickets on our own website, but we're not doing that for this show. Okay. So, man, we hope to see our old gang down there. We had a lot of great times in Cincy. Are you going to make it out to the show? I'm hoping to. Yeah, I would love to be able to come out and enjoy it with the family. If you do show up, give me a little advance notice, and we'll get you up there to bring us on if you want. Oh, that'd be awesome. Actually, shoot, that was one of my questions. I was going to be like, hey, can you use an extra band member? Yeah, I see. What do you don't play triangle, do you? Oh, of course I do. Oh, well, bring it. I hope you have a road case for your triangle. Can you stop out with your triangle and play that night? Sounds like a plan. Heck yeah. Yeah. So how do you come up with your playlist? I'm kind of famous for reading the room very well, So we've gone years and years without a playlist because, we have so many songs. We have 11 albums to choose from, plus, a variety of cover tunes that we do. So sometimes it would always be spontaneous, which I like that. But we've had some personnel issues in the last year with some people getting sick and stuff like that. And we're back firing on all 8 cylinders now, but we started using a set list during that period when we had some different people on stage, just to make it, so they weren't used to playing all the songs. They had to kind of think about it a little bit more. And we've kept with it, but we got 11 albums to choose from and a bunch of cover tunes that we've done over the years, and some of our favorite artists. Some of the artists we toured with, we'll throw in a Marshall Tucker song or a Allman Brothers song or a Charlie Daniels song here and there, and we toured a lot with all those guys back in the day. And also some of our favorite, like we'll do a Beatles or a Stones song occasionally. That is awesome. Yeah, we're supposed to be having Marshall Tucker on in the next week or so. So, yeah, small world. Oh, well, you're probably going to talk to Doug. Tell Doug John Schwab from McGuffey Lane said hi. Oh, definitely. I will. Heck yeah. We were on the same label. I had a solo album back after McGuffey Lane split up for a while, and Marshall Tucker and John Schwab were on the same record label back then. Yeah. Been a while since I've seen those guys. Do you have a favorite song to perform live? It changes all the time, man. You know what I mean? Do you have a favorite song? I mean, my favorite songs change. Like, a lot of times it's the last one I listened to that I really liked. Yeah, I was going to say, I agree with you 100% there. Yeah, because a lot of times, people come on and they're like, oh, I favor this one or that one. But I agree with you. I mean, a lot of times it's what you've most recently heard or what, it just depends on how you feel at the time. I mean, it changes and is so versatile. And also, like, for original music, it's like, well, somebody asking you, well, which one of your children do you like best? Exactly. Yeah, I was going to say with that one, I fortunately can pick one because I only have one.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, now with you all with 11 albums, that's a lot of children to pick from.
Yeah, exactly.
But yeah, John, it is always a pleasure having you on the show. We're excited about that performance Friday, March 24th, Megacourt Pavilion, Newport, Kentucky. Before we let you go, where on social media, where on the web, where can our listeners find out more about you?
Yeah, www.McGuffeylane.com. And we have a Facebook page. And, like I said, YouTube. There's a lot of stuff on YouTube. So
Sounds great. Well, thank you for joining us.
Hey, James, thank you so much, man.
Appliance Factory and Mattress Kingdom has products in stock and available to take home today. With 5 stores and almost 40 years in business, they are Ohio's appliance experts, and they help you to get the right product at the right price with a huge inventory. You can save 30 to 60% every day on everything from Bosch and Viking to LG, GE, and KitchenAid at unbeatable savings and in stock. Plus, Mattress Kingdom inside Appliance Factory has everything from Tempur-Pedic and Sealy, Stearns & Foster, and DreamCloud mattresses in stock. Stop by any one of Appliance Factory and Mattress Kingdom's 5 Ohio locations today or visit online at appliancefactory.com.
Good morning, Dreamhouse Nation. James Lewis of TDH. Joining us today is the director of Gunther's Millions, Aurelien Leturgie. Aurelien, thank you for joining us today.
Thank you for having me.
It's our pleasure. So what is Gunther's Millions?
Well, Gunther's Millions is a shocking and very, very busy story of a mysterious German countess that left all of her money to her German shepherd named Gunther. And it was about 30 years ago. And ever since, the money has been transferring from one Gunther to another, just like a legacy of Gunthers.
Oh, wow. So I understand they're currently on Gunther 6. Is that correct?
That's right. We're on Gunther the 6. And Gunther the 6 is in Italy. But you have to tune in and watch the series because there's a lot more to the story in our series.
So what breed is Gunther?
Gunther is a German Shepherd, and Gunther the 6 is right now is actually 6 years old.
Nice. So can I be his pet?
Well, I mean, Gunther has a big entourage already, so he's got a full staff. But yeah, for sure. I mean, why not?
Excellent. So where is the best place for the Dreamhouse Nation to watch Gunther's Millions?
Well, Gunther's Millions was released yesterday on Netflix, so it's available anywhere, actually, worldwide on Netflix.
Awesome. So you said he's currently 6?
Yes, Gunther. The current Gunther is 6, and we all got to the 6, so he has a pretty long history of ancestors.
Nice. So tell us about his main guy. Tell us about Maurizio.
So Maurizio is actually the caretaker for Gunther, because when you have a trust and you have a beneficiary. Obviously, a dog cannot, manage his money and his inheritance. So Mauricio is the caretaker, is the man pulling the strings. But you once again, you have to watch the series because there's a lot more to the story, and that's what we've done in the series is to really understand the full story, and we went really deep, went really deeper into the story to understand the dynamic.
Nice. I understand it's broken down into 4 parts. Is it chronological or is it by topic? How the 4 episodes are separated.
So the episodes are actually chronological. So we went and we told the story right from the start. So we start with the inheritance, and we pretty much tell the full story from the start, going to to nowadays, because Gunther is currently in Italy, so the story goes on. It's been 30 years.
Nice. How did you get access to never before seen archival material?
So when we started working on this project, we got access not only to to Gunther, the current Gunther, but we were also able to get access to all of the archives through through the caretaker and through the trust, and they allowed us to use all of the pretty much the archives that had never been seen before by the public, videos of previous Gunthers and pictures of previous Gunthers, documents, and a lot of other things that allowed us to really tell the full story.
So, who are some of the people that have lived with Gunther? Any famous people or anybody we would know?
Well, Gunther the Fourth. So two Gunthers up. From the current one. So Gunther the Fourth back in 2001 bought Madonna, as mentioned. So it was pretty much Gunther's first steps into the lifestyle of the rich and famous. So it was Madonna's house. But there's been a lot of people coming in and out of the house in Miami and currently in Italy, where local celebrities. There's actually a very famous Italian celebrity that is featured in the series, who has worked for the dog, as crazy as it sounds. But there's always been famous Italian celebrities, and in Miami also, Gunther's caretakers and handlers were throwing lavish parties at the house as well, with sometimes celebrities joining.
Oh, nice. So it sounds like it was a great place to be and experience.
Oh yeah, no, absolutely. I mean, when you have a dog that's worth $500 million, you have all this money. Of course, everyone around the dog is also enjoying that lifestyle, and that's also part of the series that we explain is the lifestyle that was created around Gunther, the Gunther lifestyle, which is pretty much exactly that, a lavish lifestyle and living in the house, Madonna's house, and having, enough money not to worry about anything. That was kind of like the core concept of the story of the dog.
Now, of course, we don't want to give too much away, but could you share one of the commandments with us?
Yeah, well, these commandments are pretty crazy, but one of them was to have at least 2 hours of sex every day. It was one of the commandments, and it was, the whole Gunther lifestyle was built on also sexuality and sexual open-mindedness, and one of them was that is the members of the Gunthers lifestyle and would have to have sex 2 hours a day.
Oh wow. Sounds like it's going to be an exciting movie. We're excited about watching it on Netflix. Before we let you go, where on social media, where on the web, where can we find out more about Gunther's Millions?
Sure. I mean, on the obviously the show is on Netflix. It was released yesterday, so it's available anywhere. And then on the web, if you want to follow Gunther, you also can follow him on his own page, which is Gunther Rich Dog. That's the handle, and that's his own Instagram page where you can follow him. But of course on Netflix for the series as well.
Awesome. Well, Aurelien, thank you for joining us today.
Well, thank you, James. Thank you for having me.
Appliance Factory in Mattress Kingdom has products in stock and available to take home today. With 5 stores and almost 40 years in business, they are Ohio's appliance experts, and they help you to get the right product at the right price with a huge inventory. You can save 30 to 60% every day on everything from Bosch and Viking to LG, GE, and KitchenAid at unbeatable savings and in stock. Plus, Mattress Kingdom inside Appliance Factory has everything from Tempur-Pedic and Sealy, Stearns & Foster, and Dream Cloud mattresses in stock. Stop by any one of Appliance Factory and Mattress Kingdom's 5 Ohio locations today, or visit online at appliancefactory.com.
Good morning, Dreamhouse Nation. James Lewis at TDH. Joining us today from Louisville, Kentucky is Rocco Gasparo. He is the Director of Media Relations for football and for golf for the University of Louisville, Kentucky. Rocco, thank you for joining us today.
Thanks for having me.
We're excited about having you on. We're all about talking about the NCAA basketball tournament. I understand the KFC Yum Center and the Louisville, Kentucky Cardinals will be hosting March 24th and 26th. Is that correct?
That is correct.
That is awesome. So the Yum Center has been open for, about 12 years. Do you have a favorite memory
There's been so many. We've had so many big wins in there over the years. Just when it opened and the excitement in the arena 12 years ago was pretty remarkable. Just to see how people were so excited about having a new facility, and where it was located downtown was very exciting.
I agree. It's top-notch, top-class facility. Why is it such a great place, the Yum Center, to watch basketball?
There's not really a bad seat in the house, even at the third level. There's great viewing, great clubs. There's great bars. Each, underneath the lower level, there are a number of bars and places to hang out for people to enjoy the game and enjoy a beverage, and just so many amenities within the facility that makes it a very fan-friendly arena.
Now, with you being so synonymous with football, I have to preface the question, other than football season, why is March Madness the best time of the year?
Well, it's just so exciting. There's so many opportunities for teams, within the tournament. There's not just one team that can win it. There's, a whole number of teams. There's a lot of upsets. There's a lot of excitement. This is a lot of the teams, the lower level teams. It's their Super Bowl, an opportunity to prove themselves. So there's just so much excitement surrounding the whole month.
Do you have a favorite NCAA tournament memory?
Yeah, I'm from Cleveland, so when Cleveland State made a little run back, I think in the 80s when they beat David Robinson, I think 1985 was an exciting time because a small school like Cleveland State defeated, one of the big-time players in the whole country who went on to have a big NBA career. Just the run they had with Kevin McFadden, and that team was very exciting at the time.
Why is it important to buy tickets early?
You just never know, how quickly those things will sell out, depending on who gets into that region. Never know what, if a Kentucky or a Purdue or somebody close by gets it into that regional, those tickets can go by quick.
So where is the best place to buy the tickets?
NCAA.com, you can buy tickets, or you can go down to the Yum Center. Ticketmaster is always a good place to purchase those tickets as well.
Now, fortunately, you don't have to deal with it because I'm sure you probably have your own parking spot reserved. But for those who don't, where's the best place to park?
The Witherspoon Garage, located off Witherspoon, right next off of 2nd Street. There's places to park in the Gull House, too, as well. There's just a lot of parking garages located within kind of the structure of downtown. Being where it's located, there's plenty of parking garages located within walking distance of the arena.
That's awesome to hear that there are plenty of options. Now, speaking of options, I understand there are some great places to eat down there before the game.
Yeah, Jeff Ruby's is always a great location. There's a lot of smaller Morton Steakhouse is always a good place to go eat. Even old Louisville area, Nulu, good spots for people to go and venture out, not that far away, where they can walk down to a lot of different options within walking distance of the arena.
Excellent. And then where do people like to party and celebrate after the games?
Again, there's plenty of places located right down next to the arena. There's O'Shea's Bar. There's Beer Nose under the bridge, and then there's another sidebar located right there on Troll Pub. There's just so many places right next to the arena.
Now, going back to more your bread and butter, congratulations on the Fenway Bowl victory.
Yeah, definitely an exciting time for us as a program. There's a lot of transition during that time, but the kids kind of held it together, and they picked up a big win, and gives us momentum heading into 2023.
Looks like you have a great schedule for 2023. Where is the best place to buy tickets?
Ticketmaster, again, you can always buy your tickets on Ticketmaster, our website, again, down at the ticket office here on campus in the Student Activity Center. Most of the people buy their tickets online. Well,
Rocco, before we let you go, where on social media, where on the web, where can we find out more about Louisville sports?
Our website is gocards.com. Twitter is @gocards, at U of L football. There's all kinds of social media aspects where you can go find information about Louisville.
That is awesome. Thank you for joining us today.
You're welcome.
Appliance Factory and Mattress Kingdom has products in stock and available to take home today. With 5 stores and almost 40 years in business, they are Ohio's appliance experts, and they help you to get the right product at the right price with a huge inventory. You can save 30 to 60% every day on everything from Bosch and Viking to LG, GE, and KitchenAid at unbeatable savings and in stock. Plus, Mattress Kingdom inside Appliance Factory has everything from Tempur-Pedic and Sealy, Stearns & Foster, and DreamCloud mattresses in stock. Stop by any one of Appliance Factory and Mattress Kingdom's 5 Ohio locations today, or visit online at appliancefactory.com.
That wraps it up for this week's show. Hope you can join us again next week for this Dream House. This has been James Lewis. Enjoy your weekend.